The Commonwealth of Australia is a sovereign country comprising the mainland of the Australian continent, the island of Tasmania, and numerous smaller islands. Australia is the largest country by area in Oceania and the world's sixth largest country. Australia is the oldest, flattest, and driest inhabited continent, with the least fertile soils. It is a megadiverse country, and its size gives it a wide variety of landscapes and climates, with deserts in the center, tropical rainforests in the northeast, tropical savannas in the north, and mountain ranges in the southeast. Australia is a federal parliamentary constitutional monarchy, comprising 6 states and 10 territories. Australia's population of nearly 27 million is highly urbanized and heavily concentrated on the eastern seaboard. Canberra is the nation's capital, while its most populous cities are Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide. It is ethnically diverse and multicultural, the product of large-scale immigration, with almost half of the population having at least one parent born overseas. Australia's abundant natural resources and well-developed international trade relations are crucial to the country's economy, which generates its income from various sources including services, mining exports, banking, manufacturing, agriculture, and international education. Australia ranks highly for quality of life, health, education, economic freedom, civil liberties, and political rights. Australia has a highly developed market economy and one of the highest per capita incomes globally. Australia is a regional power, and has the world's 13th highest military expenditure. It is a member of international groupings including the United Nations, the G20, the OECD, the World Trade Organization, Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, the Pacific Islands Forum, the Pacific Community, the Commonwealth of Nations, and the Defense/Security Organizations ANZUS, AUKUS, and the Five Eyes. It is a major non-NATO ally of the United States. Surrounded by the Indian and Pacific Oceans, Australia is separated from Asia by the Arafura and Timor Seas, with the Coral Sea lying off the Queensland coast, and the Tasman Sea lying between Australia and New Zealand. The world's smallest continent and 6th largest country by total area, Australia, owing to its size and isolation, is often dubbed the island continent and is sometimes considered the world's largest island. Australia has 34,218 kilometers, 21,262 miles of coastline, excluding all offshore islands, and claims an extensive exclusive economic zone of 8,148,250 square kilometers, 3,146,060 square miles. This exclusive economic zone does not include the Australian Antarctic Territory. The Great Barrier Reef, the world's largest coral reef, lies a short distance off the northeast coast and extends for over 2,000 kilometers, 1,200 miles. Mount Augustus, claimed to be the world's largest monolith, is located in Western Australia. Australia is a federal parliamentary constitutional monarchy. The country has maintained a stable liberal democratic political system under its constitution, which is one of the world's oldest, since federation in 1901. It is also one of the world's oldest federations, in which power is divided between the federal and state and territorial governments. The Australian system of government combines elements derived from the political systems of the United Kingdom, a fused executive, constitutional monarchy and strong party discipline, and the United States, federalism, a written constitution and strong bicameralism with an elected upper house, along with distinctive indigenous features. Charles III reigns as King of Australia and is represented in Australia by the Governor-General at the federal level and by the governors at the state level, who by convention act on the advice of his ministers. Thus, in practice, the Governor-General acts as a legal figurehead for the actions of the Prime Minister and the Federal Executive Council. Australia has 6 states: New South Wales, NSW, Queensland, QLD, South Australia, SA, Tasmania, TAS, Victoria, Vic, and Western Australia, WA, and 3 mainland territories: the Australian Capital Territory, ACT, the Northern Territory, NT, and the Jervis Bay Territory, JBT. The Act and NT are mostly self-governing, except that the Commonwealth Parliament has the power to modify or repeal any legislation passed by the territory parliaments. The Commonwealth Parliament also directly administers the external territories of Ashmore and Cartier Islands, Christmas Island, the Cocos, Keeling Islands, the Coral Sea Islands, Heard Island and McDonald Islands, and the claimed region of Australian Antarctic Territory, as well as the internal Jervis Bay Territory, a naval base and seaport for the national capital in land that was formerly part of New South Wales. Australia is a member of several defence, intelligence, and security groupings including the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance with the United States, United Kingdom, Canada and New Zealand, the ANZUS Alliance with the United States and New Zealand, the AUKUS Security Treaty with the United States and United Kingdom, the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue with the United States, India, and Japan, the Five Power Defence Arrangements with New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Malaysia, and Singapore, and the Reciprocal Access Defence and Security Agreement with Japan. Australia has pursued the cause of international trade liberalisation. It led the formation of the Cairns Group and Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, and is a member of the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and the World Trade Organization, WTO. In recent decades, Australia has entered into the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership multilateral free trade agreements as well as bilateral free trade agreements with the United States, China, Japan, South Korea, Indonesia, the United Kingdom and New Zealand. Australia maintains a deeply integrated relationship with neighbouring New Zealand, with free mobility of citizens between the two countries under the Trans-Tasman Travel Arrangement and free trade under the Closer Economic Relations Agreement. The most favourably viewed countries by the Australian people in 2021 include New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Japan, Germany, Taiwan, Thailand, the United States and South Korea. A founding member country of the United Nations, Australia is strongly committed to multilateralism, and maintains an international aid program under which some 60 countries receive assistance. Australia has an average population density of 3.5 persons per square kilometre of total land area, which makes it one of the most sparsely populated countries in the world. The population is heavily concentrated on the east coast, and in particular in the southeastern region between southeast Queensland to the northeast and Adelaide to the southwest. Australian English is a major variety of the language with a distinctive accent and lexicon, and differs slightly from other varieties of English in grammar and spelling. General Australian serves as the standard dialect. School attendance, or registration for homeschooling, is compulsory throughout Australia. Education is the responsibility of the individual states and territories. Australia has two public broadcasters, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation and the Multicultural Special Broadcasting Service, 3 commercial television networks, several pay TV services, and numerous public, non-profit television and radio stations. Cricket and football are the predominant sports in Australia during the summer and winter months, respectively. Australia is one of 5 nations to have participated in every Summer Olympics of the modern era, and has hosted the Games twice, 1956 in Melbourne and 2000 in Sydney. It is also set to host the 2032 Games in Brisbane. Australia has also participated in every Commonwealth Games, hosting the event in 1938, 1962, 1982, 2006 and 2018. As well as being a regular FIFA World Cup participant, Australia has won the OFC Nations Cup 4 times and the AFC Asian Cup once, the only country to have won championships in 2 different FIFA confederations. Other major international events held in Australia include the Australian Open Tennis Grand Slam Tournament and the Australian Formula One Grand Prix. The annual Melbourne Cup horse race and the Sydney to Hobart yacht race also attract intense interest. Australia is also notable for water-based sports, such as swimming and surfing. The surf life-saving movement originated in Australia, and the volunteer lifesaver is one of the country's icons. Snow sports take place primarily in the Australian Alps and Tasmania. The Commonwealth of Australia is a nation strategically located between the Indian and Pacific Oceans with strong cultural and political ties to North America and Europe. The world's sixth largest country and an island continent occupied by a single nation, its name is derived from the Latin Australis, meaning of the south. It is sometimes referred to as the land down under, a reference to its long distance from its mother country, Britain. Initially a site for English penal colonies in the 18th and 19th centuries as well as a base of British economic exploitation of the area, Australia grew to become a constitutional democracy whose people built a nation free of the limitations prevalent in crowded England. Australia has developed a robust economy and high living standard. Although arid throughout much of its surface, part of its prosperity came from its extensive mineral resources. Once considered geographically isolated, Australia today benefits from its proximity to both East Asia and South Asia, and overall plays an increasingly important role in the Asia-Pacific. Within Oceania itself, Australia exercises crucial leadership, both as a benefactor to island nations and through its ability to project military power. Australia, pronounced ors-trial-ya by the country's inhabitants, is a large landmass on the Indo-Australian Plate, slightly smaller than the contiguous 48 states of the United States. It is surrounded by the Indian and Pacific Oceans, and the Tasman Sea. Australia is separated from Asia by the Arafura and Timor seas. Neighbouring countries include Indonesia, East Timor, Irian, Jaya, and Papua New Guinea to the north, the Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, and the French dependency of New Caledonia to the northeast, with New Zealand to the southeast. Australia, owing to its size and isolation, is often dubbed the island continent 139 and is sometimes considered the world's largest island. Australia has 34,218 kilometres 21,262 miles of coastline, excluding all offshore islands. The Great Barrier Reef, the world's largest coral reef, lies a short distance off the northeast coast and extends for 2,000 kilometers, 1,240 miles. The world's largest monolith, Mount Augustus, is located in Western Australia. At 2,228 meters, 7,350 feet, Mount Kosciuszko on the Great Dividing Range is the highest mountain on the mainland, although Mawson Peak on the remote Heard Island and McDonald Island is taller at 2,745 meters, 9,058 feet. Tectonic uplift of mountain ranges or clashes between tectonic plates occurred in Australia's early history, when it was still a part of Gondwana. Erosion has heavily weathered Australia's surface, making it one of the flattest countries in the world. Much of Australia is desert or semi-arid. Only the southeast and southwest corners of the continent have a temperate climate and moderately fertile soil. The north, with a tropical climate, has rainforest, woodland, grassland, and desert. Climate is influenced by ocean currents, including the El Niño Southern Oscillation, which brings periodic drought, and the seasonal tropical low-pressure system that produces cyclones in northern Australia. Rainfall is variable, with frequent droughts lasting several seasons. Dust storms can blanket a region or even several states. The Great Artesian Basin, an important source of water for people and cattle in the parched outback region, is the world's largest and deepest freshwater basin. Natural hazards include cyclones along the northern coasts, severe thunderstorms, droughts and occasional floods as well as frequent bushfires. Natural resources include bauxite, coal, iron ore, copper, tin, gold, silver, uranium, nickel, tungsten, mineral sands, lead, zinc, diamonds, natural gas and petroleum. Arable land constitutes 6% of land use, permanent pastures make up 54%, forests and woodlands cover 19%. The capital city is Canberra, although the population is concentrated in the large coastal cities of Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide. Most Australian woody plant species are evergreen and many are adapted to fire and drought, including many eucalypts and acacias. There is a rich variety of endemic legume species that thrive in nutrient-poor soils because of their symbiosis with rhizobia bacteria and fungi. Well-known fauna include the platypus and echidna, a host of marsupials, including the koala, kangaroo, wombat, and birds such as the emu, and kookaburra. The dingo was introduced by Austronesian people that traded with indigenous Australians around 4000 BCE. Many plant and animal species became extinct after human settlement, including the Tasmanian tiger. Australia has a prosperous, Western-style mixed economy, with a per capita gross domestic product, GDP, slightly higher than those of the UK, Germany, and France. In recent years, the Australian economy has been resilient in the face of global economic downturn. Rising output in the domestic economy has been offsetting the global slump, and business and consumer confidence remains robust. Thank you for watching this video. Australia's largest export markets include Japan, People's Republic of China, the United States, South Korea, and New Zealand. Export commodities include coal, gold, meat, wool, alumina, iron ore, wheat, machinery, and transport equipment. Import commodities include machinery and transport equipment, computers and office machines, telecommunication equipment and parts, crude oil and petroleum products. Partners are the US, China, Japan, Germany, Singapore, and the United Kingdom. Australian English is a major variety of the English language. Its grammar and spelling are largely based on those of British English, overlaid with a rich vernacular of unique lexical items and phrases. Australia has two public broadcasters, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation and the Special Broadcasting Service, 3 commercial television networks, 3 pay TV services, and numerous public, non-profit television and radio stations. Australia's film industry has achieved critical and commercial successes, as have quite a number of its actors and actresses. Sport is important, assisted by a climate that favors outdoor activities. Around 1/4 of Australians over the age of 15 regularly participate in an organised sport. Australia has particularly strong international teams in cricket, field hockey, netball, rugby league, rugby union, and performs well in cycling and swimming. Other sports include Australian rules football, soccer, and motor racing. Australia has participated in every Summer Olympic Games and every Commonwealth Games. Australia has hosted the 1956 Summer Olympics and 2000 Summer Olympics, and has ranked among the top 5 medal takers since 2000. Australia has also hosted the 1938 British Empire Games, 1962 British Empire and Commonwealth Games, 1982 Commonwealth Games and 2006 Commonwealth Games. Other major international events held regularly in Australia include the Australian Open, one of the 4 Grand Slam tennis tournaments, and the Formula 1 Australian Grand Prix. Thank you for watching this video.